Hey, my name is Mike, and in this video, I'll be going over how to find and create your own designs for a print-on-demand store that can actually sell. This is not going to just be guesswork, and I think this is where a lot of people get stuck when they're making a print-on-demand store. There really is a process that you can see other businesses do, and they find a lot of success with that allows you to go from having no idea of what your design is going to be to having a best-selling design that works well on print on demand, whether that is on Etsy, on Shopify, on Amazon, wherever you're selling. And this process that I'm going to show you is something that a lot of people like to hold behind like a course paywall. They want to charge you for this. We don't believe in that. We want this to be free information so you can find success for your business. So while some people do just have this stroke of genius and they're able to make a design from scratch that sells really well, most of us out there are not able to do that. And it's not a good idea to go down that route and then later find out like, yeah, your design, you wasted a lot of time on that. That's not going to work. So instead, what we're going to do throughout this video is follow a step-by-step process, starting off with research, finding out what works, what trends are hot right now, what kind of designs and niches are selling well in the market. And then from there, we are going to come up with our own design. I'll talk about how to do that, but the benefit is that you don't need to be a graphic artist for this either. And with so many great AI tools that we're going to use throughout this video, you can make many different designs in very little time and with very little effort. This is something that really changes the game and lowers the barrier of entry, making it even easier for people to get started with new designs. Before we just go and start asking Midjourney or Dolly or anything to make these designs, we need to find out what kind of designs are actually selling. To do this, one of the first resources we are going to use is actually Etsy. All right, so here we are on Etsy. There are a couple categories of designs we need to choose from, but let's start off. I want to show you some basic things. I'm going to search for t-shirt. Now on Etsy, I think this is a great tool for research because you can see a lot of information about each individual product and store in general. So you can see like this one has 7,000 reviews, 4.9 stars. 7,000, that's a lot of people. And if you say maybe from that 80,000 people placed an order, that is a very, very hot selling shirt. Also, it's obviously saying popular now and it's showing up very high up in search. So clearly this is doing well. Now, as a brand new seller, you don't want to go after anything that has like, 50,000 reviews on it, or even 10,000 is going to be tricky. Instead, you probably want something that's a little bit less. You want to find something that has probably between 1,000 reviews and 10,000 reviews. In that sweet spot is going to be kind of the range of what you want to collect ideas from. Things that are not too saturated, but also things that really do have a thriving audience that is very hungry for more products. So this right here, this concept, I really like this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and save it. I use OneNote to save everything. You can use anything you want to kind of just make a mood board of different products that we think are kind of nice. And the idea here is to look for patterns, different niches that are selling well, different design styles and feels that are selling well. Are things selling better if they're more weathered or vintage, noisier things? Like you'll see, I think, see if we can find anything down here. Like this, you'll see a lot of these this year. This is something that's very popular right now. So maybe that's a design that you want to consider selling. Also, there are several different routes to go down. One is going to be the user customizable, the personalizable product. And you'll see a lot of those like custom t-shirt, your design here, custom text. These are selling well right now. People want them. For example, maybe a bachelor party, a bachelorette party. You can do designs like that. And that's definitely a great idea. And I'll talk about how you can add that in Gelato later on in the video if you choose them as a supplier. But besides that, if you want to have a static design, there's still two categories here. You have the long-term regular static design. Think about like this one over here on the top left, maybe like that ocean one I showed you before. Those are designs that are going to be more evergreen. If you make it now and it's a great design, it's likely to sell for several months or years continuing from today. But there is also the other option, which is a little bit trickier, but you have some advantages and disadvantages of time-sensitive products. If we go down, for example, you can see these are both going to be more related to the election year right now. So this is something that during an election cycle, you're just more likely to have more interest in that and more likely to have people buying the products that are related to that. I know my brother used to sell stickers on an election year for like both sides, both candidates, and every 4 years, it just becomes a very hot time for people to express their political opinions. Similarly, if there are sporting events or really anything going on newsworthy, any relevant memes or characters in the news, these are things that could potentially make for a very hot selling product. Now, the advantage is that you don't have a lot of competition, you do have a lot of search, And when you make it with print on demand, you don't have to worry about overhead. So you can just change the design every week as new things come out. The downside, it is significantly more hands-on. It's a lot harder to get that snowballing of a good design that starts ranking higher, showing up like this one, for example, right here, showing up higher and higher in the searches on Etsy or with your Shopify store on Google or anywhere else that you might be selling. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go with a static design. I want to find something that can sell well for a long time so I can do the work now and collect more of a passive income in the future. So for the next 30 minutes, hour, maybe even longer, I'm going to go through Etsy and kind of take some screenshots of different photos of different products that I like. All right, so I found some trends and I kind of collected them on OneNote right here. I would like to build this out more, but just for the sake of example, you can see right here we have a kind of like a basic thing, just 2 words, coffee weather. So kind of a seasonal thing. This is something people feel more cozy about. Later in the summer, it's more likely to be a seller. Honestly, coffee season could really be any time. So this is something that I think a lot of people would be interested in, and we could maybe adapt that to slightly different things. Like I like where this is going. So I took a screenshot of that. Over here, this one's based on songs. So lyrics from a song with a little image in the middle, has 2,700 reviews. So it's clearly a strong selling shirt. And like anyone who likes the song Hotel California might be interested in wearing that shirt. Over here, obviously pets are a very strong niche. This is something that like, talking about voting election year, that's something that maybe some people would buy. I don't really resonate as much being not a cat lady myself. It's harder for me to relate to that audience. So it's going to be harder for me to market to this category, this niche right here. But over here, I found a couple shirts that had kind of like a whole bunch of images on one. So kind of like a collage, if you want to call it that. This one, some sea animals. Down here, some wine and seafood. So Italy is kind of the theme right there. And then down here, that's a classic one that's been selling for years of just all those little pickle jars. I think that went viral on TikTok probably 3 years ago by now, maybe longer. But these two right here, I think there's definitely something there. And looking at this, maybe if you know people are interested in golfing or football, or if they're interested in fishing or anything like that, you could potentially take this same concept, the same style, the same monochrome look to this, and just apply it to those and add a bunch of little graphics on your shirt. I think that's something that clearly does sell well on both of these, and finding a different niche could really make this, a very viable option. Going over this one is kind of like the logo humor. This is something I talked about in the past in a different print on demand video where I was kind of making fun of Chick-fil-A. It had like a little chicken sandwich on it and it said everyday filet or Sunday filet or something like that. So it was a parody, but of course, always make sure that you're not copying the brand logo. You don't want to have any kind of copyright infringement. And obviously always consult with a legal advisor. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video as well. Over here, I found a lot of golf shirts and I kind of liked this niche. I think this is something that could have a lot of potential. It's a niche that is growing very rapidly. A good way to kind of gauge this is just to look at the fastest growing niches on YouTube or on TikTok. And right now, golf is among the fastest growing. Tons of people are watching, which means a lot of people are getting into golf. So as an expanding category, which already was pretty gigantic, now you have an even larger audience and you're kind of going for, so in general, you want to aim for those rising tides. So now looking at these, we're going to start off by saying, okay, so golf is a positive. I really like that. I want to go with that for this video. So going through here, are there any golf brands you can make fun of? Are there any, is there a way you can have a montage here of all the different things related to golf? Kind of similar to what this did down here. And as you can see, that one is selling well. It has almost 12,000 reviews. Over here, you can see the cat lady one. Pets is kind of a totally different category. I don't think there's much we could do with that. Any songs, again, kind of not related. And then over here, the coffee weather, maybe like golf weather, something related to that could possibly be an option. But what I really like is this over here. So kind of a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot walking with a golf bag. I think that's kind of a cool idea. And so I want to kind of expand on that. And if this feels a little bit rushed or you're still kind of struggling on what niche to go for, I recommend using ChatGPT or really any AI assistant. Just ask for like 10 potential niches that could work or what is growing quickly and kind of go through that and start brainstorming based on that. So like sustainability, mental health, pet lovers, nostalgia is a big one. I think that's kind of why we saw that very noisy t-shirt I showed you a couple minutes ago. Nostalgia from like the 90s really is what that is. hiking and outdoors, fitness and active lifestyle. That's what we're doing. We're going with golf. There's a lot of cool things there. So I think, like I said before, that kind of adapting the Bigfoot looking one, but with an alien is kind of the similar flavor to that, but I think could also be very funny and possibly something that would work well. So our first iteration here, I just said, make a single color stamp of an alien playing golf. And I use ChatGPT here. You could also use Midjourney. There's a lot of other ones out there. Right now, I do actually have a paid subscription with GPT. So I'm using 4.0. There are also free tools out there that you can generate images. So don't worry about having to pay. It's something that if you already do, it could be useful. But this made a literal stamp, which actually kind of turned out to be really funny. This was not what I envisioned at all. I thought it was going to be like a stamp on a shirt. So it's just going to be like a kind of like this look exactly, but I didn't expect it to have the stamp outline on it. Regardless, I think that actually looks kind of good. And now I said, all right, what about, go back to the Bigfoot thing, right? So we want an alien walking with a golf bag, maybe on Mars. And it came up with this. Honestly, I absolutely love this design. I think this is the design I'm going to really run with in this video. I was shocked that I got this on the second try, but I just think this is absolutely perfect for a shirt like this. As you can see, we already know that Sasquatch one was selling very well, 4,500 reviews right now. And this is such a similar flavor to that, clearly not copying that at all. This is a completely different thing. And obviously being made right here, we don't have to worry about copyrights. Like this is made by AI specifically for us. And then from there, I was kind of brainstorming, all right, well, maybe if it's on Mars, we could say something about like searching for water. It's kind of a joke that people playing golf, like somehow always hit it into the water. So like searching for water. And I thought, what about like maybe a fish hitting a golf ball, searching for water? That would make sense. I had it make a bunch of fish ones. None of them really looked good. This one kind of looked okay, but again, I don't know. Maybe an iteration on the shirt we could possibly run with this one. All right, so I downloaded that image from ChatGPT. Now, what you could do is you could just go to a free background remover. If we just search for free background remover, there are a ton of them. Adobe has one, and we're actually going to be using Adobe Express later on in the video anyway. So we can just upload our image right here. And honestly, the AI that does this is absolutely incredible now. It's crazy that just a couple of years ago, you'd spend like hours tracing this on Photoshop to delete the background. Now it's like instant and it's free to do online, which is crazy. So we're going to want a no background image. So just upload it here and you can then download that as a PNG file. And while we're here, I actually want to add some text to this. So I'm going to click on edit and I'm going to go to Adobe Express right there. And we're going to, this is very similar to like Canva, a lot of other tools out there. If you're comfortable with those, obviously use whatever you're comfortable with, but Adobe Express is something that I think works very well. So let's try using this right now. All right, so here we are. Now, what I want to do is on the top, we're going to search for t-shirt, and we're going to go with 10 by 12, so our t-shirt right here. And now we can start designing on this right here. So I'm going to close out of that. We don't need any of these pop-ups that are coming up, no printing, anything like that. We'll say done, and I'm going to upload my image here. So I'm going to upload, let's start off with that alien one right here. Now I'm going to expand this and we can't actually see it because it is white and the background is not white. So let's change the background of this. So background color to black. And there we go. That looks good. And really the name of the game with print on demand is the iterations. And it's one of the beauties of online businesses these days is that you are able to, at no extra cost, make many different designs, test all of them out, see which ones sell best, and then double down on that and iterate based on that as well. It's something that you can continue making better and better designs that sell better until you have something that is an absolute bestseller on whatever platform you're selling on. So this design right here, let's start off with just one basic thing. I'm going to kind of resize it a little bit, put it in the middle. And the way this works, kind of a quick little crash course on how Adobe Express works once we have our account, is on the left side, you have your stuff, any kind of files you uploaded, things like that. You have upload right there. We can add new images. We have templates if you want to find, like, if any of these kind of resonate with what you're doing, or if you're just looking to brainstorm other ideas, this is another great option here. You have media. Again, that's where you can find videos and photos and things. Videos don't really make sense here, obviously. And then text, elements, and grids. So let's go with text right now. This is really kind of what we want. I'm going to add our own text, or you can have some kind of pre-constructed text down here, but I'm going to add my own text. And we're going to say, so maybe something like this, searching for water Again, kind of with that same joke from before. And I recommend, again, going back to ChatGPT, telling it your first idea of what the saying could be, and then say, come up with 30 different iterations of this. So once you have a couple that you really like, the next thing is to find the fonts that work best. So this font right here looks terrible. It looks like I'm just typing out a document, which you kind of basically are. So if we click on the down arrow, we have quite a few Adobe ones that we can choose from. Just kind of scroll through these. Maybe that one is looking a little bit better. That's definitely in the right direction. So let's let's change them both to that right there. So that's looking a little bit better. That's one iteration so maybe that's one design right there. Now what we can do, which works very well, and now what we can do is up here where you see the little plus where it says add, you can say duplicate. So it'll just make another page right here. And you can go through your pages left to right here. And now the next one, we can just change it to a different font as well. And we can kind of keep changing and playing around with this and tweaking the design until we have a couple designs with this image that we think look really good. So maybe on the second one, you choose a different font, or maybe you have a different image. Maybe I'll just go and upload the other one. Remember I said I had a couple here. So maybe this one right here, we can make it a little bigger. And a general best practice for designs is to use the entire space you have available. You don't want to make little tiny designs like just in the middle. Maybe some brands do that, but most brands that sell best, as we saw over on Etsy right here, let's go back to here. They really did utilize a lot of that space. As you can see, like this one uses almost all of it. This one uses a ton. They really do use most of the real estate that you do have available. So maybe I'll do another duplicate right here and I'll go with the fish one. And as you might expect, so if we change the background color to white, we can't see this text right here. So if you click on it over on the left side, you can change the fill to another color. So let's click on this little button right here, match it to the fish. There we go. And then same thing down here where it says water. There we go. We can change the fill to, let's go and do that again. So there we go. Now we have a third design. And of course, another option is just to have this without any text at all. Like you might not actually need this text. So if I just want this image here, let's kind of expand it so it fits the entire space. Maybe we just put that on a shirt. Like maybe that could be enough. That is what was selling well, as you see over on that Sasquatch one right over on that Sasquatch one. That is what was already selling well. It didn't have like a lot going on. So it kind of would have just been this. So I currently have just 5 designs. I recommend making at least 10 when you're doing this, if not more. And you want to keep a couple things in mind when you're making these iterations. One is going to be the copy that you write, like what is actually written on there. The second thing is going to be the font you use. Try different fonts. The third thing is going to be where everything is. So maybe all the words are above it, maybe they're all below it, maybe they're bigger or smaller. Try different variations like that. And of course, the last one would be maybe just having a graphic, as I have right here, which personally I think is the coolest to have on a shirt. But of course, it depends on the niche and the category. But if you have any kind of words on there, so let's just say this one, finding water, we want to make sure that that is not a trademark. So in the US, there's the US Trademark Office. You can go to, I'll put this link in the description. You just go to, you could Google trademark search USA or whatever country you're in, and there should be some search engine that allows you to search different phrases. So I'm going to type in finding water, and I suspect they would never trademark something so simple. As we can see here, scrolling through, I'm not seeing anything that says finding water. In fact, nothing even remotely close to that. So we should be good with that. The other one that I had was searching for water. So let's just see, searching for water. Again, kind of a very generic thing. I would be surprised if they trademarked that. Again, I don't really see anything here that looks like it is trademarked on that. Okay, cool. So I think we're good with these phrases here. So now the next step is going to be to download our designs. On the top, you'll see the big download button. And what we want to do first, though, is I want this to be a transparent background. Even if I'm putting it on a black t-shirt, I don't want to print black ink on top of a black shirt. It's completely unnecessary. So background color, we're just going to switch it over to transparent. I like working on this design with a black background so you could see it, but then exporting it with a transparent background. So from here, I'm going to click on download, transparent PNG. That sounds good. And we're going to do just the selected page. We're going to say download, and that is our first design there. Now I'm going to name this one design 1. You can download that. And I'm going to do the same for all my other designs. Now we're ready for the next step of actually adding this to some print-on-demand apparel. Now, there are a lot of suppliers out there. We like to work with Gelato, and if you want to get started with Gelato, we have a special offer. If you go to Santrel, media.com/gelato. They'll give you 50% off your first sample order, or really your first order in general. I recommend placing a sample order so you get some merch for yourself, see what it looks like, experience what the customer is going to receive as far as the packaging, the timing, everything like that. And most importantly, you can then use that in marketing materials. So looking at this right now, I can say get offer, and that'll bring us over to Gelato's site where we can just sign up. So I'm going to sign up with email. Then you have to verify your email address. You'll get a link in your inbox, and that'll bring you to this page here. You just click on verify email, and you'll end up here. So I'm going to say these answers don't really matter quite as much. It's just going to change your dashboard a little bit. So don't worry if your answers are a little bit different. I'm going to launch an online business. I am creating a best-selling designs, and we are looking to sell clothing. And where do we hear about us? Let's just say, I don't know, what am I? Social media, an influencer, review site, a blog? I'm going to say social media, I guess. We'll say YouTube and say finish. So that'll bring us to the Gelato dashboard. It's great because you can start for free. You can browse the entire library. There are some paid plans that are available, and there are advantages to getting those, and I'll explain what they are later on in the video. But starting off, we can just go to product catalog and start figuring out what kind of products we want this design to be on. So they have obviously men's clothing. If you're looking for like the Gildan 5000, a very classic t-shirt that a lot of people do sell, it's a little bit cheaper. There are a lot of colors available, a lot of sizes. Or on the other hand, if you wanted to go back to men's clothing and go to premium, they have, branded things as well. You can go down and find like Under Armour shirts or Champion shirts. Let's see, where are they? Champion right there, Under Armour right there. They've got hoodies from these premium brands as well. So you can put your design in some really nice premium products out there, like Under Armour, like I said, generally perceived as a higher quality product, whether you agree with that or not. It's something that end customers are going to view under a slightly different lens there and potentially be willing to pay more for your products. So for this video, maybe I want to start off with a premium crew neck hoodie. It's still $15.99, so not super expensive considering it's a premium product. So let's go to this one. And that brings us to this interface here. Now we have a couple options. You can print DTG, direct to garment. This is a very common printing method. So unlike screening, this allows you to have basically infinite colors, all the colors that you want in your print. You can have, if you have like a photograph of a person's face, you can do that. It's not a problem. And then we have embroidery as well. You see the price goes up about $2 there. But obviously embroidery is going to be very premium, having stitching on there, kind of extruded a little bit more. I do this a lot with hats. You could do this with hoodies and shirts if you wanted to, but I recommend keeping it a little bit smaller. You're not going to have like a full embroidered front on this. So I'm going to do DTG for this. We have a lot of colors available. Because our little alien golfer is white, I'm going to make it a black hoodie, I think, or maybe forest green would look good. I don't know. You can experiment with different colors as well. Again, this doesn't really affect anything, so you can try a whole bunch of different colors for your products and see what people end up ordering. But for my sample, I'm just going to go with this one right now. So I'm going to click on add to store. So that brings us to this page right here. And we have a lot of options of different stores we can connect to. If you already have a store, say on Etsy, for example, or Amazon or anywhere else, go ahead and connect that. If you don't, I recommend just making one store first on Shopify, and then Shopify integrates very well with Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Etsy and basically every other platform out there. Being the largest e-commerce store builder on the internet, Shopify is a good bet that they're going to integrate with everybody out there and do so very well. So that's going to save you effort further on down the line. Instead of if you build out a big Etsy store and then you want to sell on, say, Instagram, it might not connect as well as Shopify would. So if you don't already have a store, summary here, I recommend setting up Shopify. Go to a new tab and type in santrelmedia.com/Shopify, or click the link in the description below, Shopify, make sure I spell that right. Hit enter, and that'll bring you to this page right here. We can enter our email address. You get started for $1, and so let's do that. So I can enter my email address. And these questions here, it doesn't really matter what you say. So I'm just going to say skip all because it just changes your dashboard very slightly. But with this video, you won't need that anyway. So I'm going to say next. And now we can sign up with email, enter our password, and say create Shopify account. And there we go. So now it says building your store. It's going to take a second for this to actually build out your dashboard. And then what I really like about Shopify, as many other people do, being the largest e-commerce builder out there, is that you do have a lot of templates to choose from, and it makes it very easy to just kind of swap out very quickly the images and the text on those templates for your own product. And then in no time at all, you can have a website completely ready to go. So that brings us to this page right here. Now, the first thing I want to do is go down to online store, kind of get some progress here. And we're going to choose a theme that works well with our product. So down here in the theme library, so we're going to scroll down and you'll see a whole bunch of themes down here, popular free themes that are available. So we can check out a ton of other ones by visiting the theme store on the bottom. In fact, I'm going to do that. But if you like any one over here, you could just say view demo or try the theme and it'll add it to your store. But going to that new tab, like I said, all the themes that are available, there are like, this is growing 202 now that are paid. I swear they're adding like 20 every time I make a video, but unfortunately still just 13 free ones. Regardless, they are great ones. And I think, you don't need any more than these 13 unless you already have a really large store and you're trying to migrate. So I like going with this one right here. Origin works very well for me. It's very easy to customize and make a simple store. So I'm going to say try theme. It's going to add that to our online store themes, but it's not going to implement that yet. We're going to have to do that in a second. It brings us back to the Shopify dashboard now, and you'll see Dawn is still there. That's the original theme. We don't want that theme. We want Origin down here. So once it's done adding, you'll see the spinning wheel will stop, and then we can click on Publish, and that will make it our primary theme. So now that it is added, we can click on Publish. That'll make it our primary theme, so we can add it. All right, so now we have our theme. That's going to be our template. If we go down here and select a plan, we could just choose the cheapest plan option available. So Basic's going to work well for most people. I'm going to pay monthly. You could do yearly and save $120. If you have that, you're willing to spend that upfront, make that investment, and that, hey, you're going to stick it out for a year and make this business work. Say subscribe. Now we can enter some contact information, say save business address, and then we are successfully subscribed. So we're ready to go. That's great. Now we can go back to online store again, and we want to make sure that we publish the store. So we remove the password right there. That way all the integrations are going to work. We can visit the website and make sure everything is running smoothly. Great. So let's go back to where we were on Gelato, this page right here where we have to connect the store. We're going to click on Shopify. And since we already have our Shopify account in another tab, it should just bring us to this page. You'll see your name right up in the top right. We can install this and it's going to add Shopify. So that's going to integrate very, very seamlessly. We'll make the product on Gelato, and then on Shopify, we'll be able to add it to the website. It'll look really good. We can collect payments on there. Everything can be managed through Shopify, but then Gelato is going to be where we manage the design and stuff like that. You'll understand more in a second once I get a little bit deeper into this setup here. So we're going to click on install again. It's going to add that officially to our online store. There we go. So now we have that. Great. So now we are going to create a new product. Like I said, create a new product. And based on what we saw before, I really did like that premium hoodie. So we're going to go down to premium. I'm going to add this one right here. And when we add it, we can start customizing how it looks. So this is going to be a slightly different interface than we saw before because it allows us to make the design. We can choose the colors that we have available, and they are just little check boxes. So I'm going to deselect white. That's the only one I can't do really because like the ink is white. So you won't be able to see the design, but let's say green, maybe we want to have dark chocolate, maybe navy, maybe black, anything else that we think that design would show up well on, we can select right here. Again, we want to make sure this is direct to garment, not embroidered. The size is available. I'm going to leave it. All of those sizes look good to me. I don't want to exclude anybody here. And then there are 3 other variants available. If you wanted to add like 5XL, it's going to cost a little bit more money, but hey, you could add that to your store if you wanted to. Now, going down the left side, Gelato has a lot of great design tools as well. So you can manage different layers on here. I usually don't do that. Most of my designs are very simple, but you could build out a pretty impressive design on Gelato. If we go to designs or we go to files, I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to add one from my device. And we're going to add, let's just say design number 3 first. That's the first one I'm going to add. And then once it shows up here, it's loading, we can just click and drag that over to the middle right there. So once we have it, click and drag it over, drop it there, and now it is in the middle of our hoodie. So that looks good. We can also resize it. We can move it around. We can do whatever we need to right here, just using these little corner boxes if we want to do that. I'm going to undo that. I kind of like leaving it full size right there. Actually, we don't want to cut off the outside, so make it a little bit smaller, maybe like that, move it up a little bit. And yeah, I think let's move it up a little bit to like right there. And there you go. So that's one design right there. That's one option. So let's continue to mockups. So for this particular product, the mockups are all very straightforward. Some of the other ones have like models wearing the product. I'll show you that in a second with another product. But this one right here, these are all free to use as well, which is pretty beneficial for us. So we can go with maybe the side ones. We can show those. We can show the back. And you can see right there, we have the design on the front. You could download them if you want to use these on, say, Instagram or any other social marketing that you want to do with this. I'm not going to download them right now because I don't think we necessarily need that. We already have the design available. So I'm going to continue to details. And this is going to allow us to change the name of this. We're going to say, so you can change the title of this, and this is going to show up on our online store on Shopify, as well as anywhere else that you want to list this. If you want to connect to Etsy or Amazon or anywhere else, like I said, then down here, we can customize the description. Of course, with this, we have our classic text editing tools. We can make things bold. We can add links in here. So if you mention, maybe this is like donating $1 out of every purchase to some, some foundation, you can have a link to that down here. That might be beneficial. And then down here, we can have the size table. Let's include that. The care instructions, definitely include that. And the product, okay. And then everything down here, we're going to leave that the same as well and continue to prices. Now the prices, there are a lot of variations here, different sizes, different colors. And so you can customize everything all at once. You could just say, hey, set the profit margin to, let's just say maybe 65%. We'll say update. And now all the prices all the way through are being customized right now. And they show the shipping cost as well. So $8.23 for all these. The estimated profit, the price guide, the retail price right here showing us like $45 is probably what you charge for a large one. Or you could just say, hey, instead set the profit margin, set the profit to instead, let's just say we want to make like $15 per shirt. We'll say update. And now they're all going to be like $30-ish, and we'll be making $15 per shirt there. So I am going to continue to review. Now, depending on the product, you want to make sure you do have a good enough price, especially if you're running any ads with this. You don't want to cut yourself short and end up with no money to spend on marketing or no money left for yourself at the end. Now, once we have if everything looks good to you, I'm going to say publish. It's going to say publishing right here. And this should turn green. You should have 3 little dots and you should say green in just a second. There we go. So as long as you see all the numbers in green, that means 29 variants were connected, or however many variants you have. We have no issues that are not connected and nothing that is ignored. There we go. Now we have that. Just to kind of double check, let's go over to that other tab where we have our Shopify store. Let's see, where is it? This tab right here. If we click on products and we refresh the page, we should see alien golfing, searching for water, inventory not tracked. We have one product active. That's great. We're going to add that to our site in a second, but let's kind of take a look at some other products we have. So going back to Gelato, we can click on product catalog. Again, I'm going to add maybe an Under Armour t-shirt. I want to show you what it looks like when there's a model wearing it and how that works. So if we go to men's clothing, go to premium, and from here, maybe the Under Armour one would be good. I kind of liked that down here, Under Armour. Let's see what other options we have. So the Under Armour one, I'm going to add the Under Armour crew neck t-shirt. And from here, we can add to store. We can choose the color. So maybe blue and white looks good. We can choose the sizes as well. So I want all these sizes to be available. Let's add a new image. We're going to choose a file here. Again, a slightly different one this time. So let's say maybe this time it's going to be design number 2. The first time we did just the alien, but this time I'm going to add a little bit of text on the top and bottom. See how this performs. Click and drag it over. Finding water. Then we can say continue to mockups. And here we should see, like I mentioned before, we have some mockups of a person actually wearing it, which I think is very impressive that these tools are able to do that. It looks exactly like that guy's wearing that. It doesn't look super photoshopped at all. So super impressive. I want to include these. So I'm going to include all of these. Actually, let's just include all of them on our store. And we're going to continue to details. Again, it's nice that with this premium product, we don't have to pay for those mockups. There are some out there, the different, like the Gildan 5000. There are probably a dozen different like model wearing the shirt images, mockups like that. And some of them you have to upgrade, some of them you don't. We'll talk about upgrading in just a second. But looking at this right here, again, let's kind of say alien, golfing, searching for, or say finding water. There we go. Let's say continue to prices. Again, we have the same tools we had before. We can include shipping cost in profit calculation, by the way, and I can say update, and that'll have the price for all of these shirts. We'll say continue to review. If everything looks good, we can go and publish. We can also edit the product options as well if you don't want this to be available everywhere in the world. And then we can say If everything looks good, we can then say publish. So now we have 2 items available on our store. Again, this should show up with a little green icon showing probably like 10 or so different variants. And then back on my store, we can start to build out that website, and then we can talk about integrations with other platforms. So going back to Shopify, once again, it's kind of, you toggle back and forth between these 2 platforms a lot, but because they're so well integrated, you just want to double check everything works well. It's all there, and it looks like, yes, everything is over here. So going down to where we were, click on online store. That's the sales channel that we're going to be working with here. We can click on customize, and that's going to bring us into the website editor. Now, don't be intimidated. It's very easy to do. Just in a couple clicks, we're going to have this store up and running. So going on the left side, we're going to click on the first thing here, which is rich text. I don't think we really need that. Sorry, don't click on it. Hover over it, click on the trash can. That deletes it. Then we have our featured product. We can click on this, and now we're going to select the product. So click select product. You can see both of our products are here. Let's say maybe the hoodie is going to be the first, or let's say the crew necks may be the first one we want to have. So I'm going to say select. We'll add that. And so you'll see we do have a white background here. To change that, I'm going to click on change under scheme 1 and make it scheme 2. So we have a white background on the top. That way it kind of blends in a little better. You can see that is the product again. And on the right side, we have all of our text showing up just fine. If we want to customize that or remove or add anything, we can click on back, and you'll see within this little hierarchy on the left side, kind of explaining, let me take a step back and explain how Shopify works. We have these different sections in the template. So this is all one section. This is called an image banner. We have this entire section here. This is our testimonials. It's just rich text is what they call it, where we have 2 text boxes within this section. And then this is technically a different section with 3 different columns. And all of these are managed on the left side in this little hierarchy chart. So the top, we have featured product. You can see this whole thing is one section. We can collapse that. We can collapse all of these rather, and you'll see these are the different sections we have. We only have 4 right now. If we want to move any of them, so if I want this to be above that for some reason, I can click and drag it, and you can see it's moving it around our site. Then, if we want to customize anything within any of them, you click the drop-down arrow, and all of the elements are showing up right here. So we have the title, we have the price below that, we have a description, we have the variant picker, we have the buy button, and we have a share option as well. Maybe we don't need the share button right there. I can click on delete, and that will get rid of that part of this section. Similarly, if we go down to testimonials right here, the multi-column, we have the 3 different columns are available. If you want to add a 4th column, just click right here and it adds a 4th column weirdly below though. So it makes the most sense to just have 3 columns unless you readjust the layout to have 4 columns in the width here. So this right now, super simple 1-page website. I would recommend adding some photos down here and some text on the bottom. But for now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to add our second product. We're going to add a section here. Let's add another featured product right here, another featured product. And I'm going to, as you remember, click and drag this up. So we have it right below the first one. And we can click on featured product. We're going to select a different product here. And of course, this is going to be the second t-shirt. We can change the scheme so we have a white background. And now we have our 2 products right here. Both of them very, pretty well optimized for this. We can change the title so it's not quite as long. So I'm not going to spend too much time building out this website in this video. Like I said, I have a full print on demand tutorial where I go into all the little details of setting up your Shopify store. I really want to focus this video more on the design aspect and how to just get this out to market, how to test different designs. But of course, making a store is a very important part of that. So I recommend checking out that full tutorial if you want to know how to change the header and different things like that. Otherwise, the only other key thing I really want to change on Shopify is if we click exit, we do have to go down to settings and we do have to configure a couple key settings. The first one being the name of our store. We're going to click on the pencil icon and call this one Alien Golfers Apparel Co. We'll say save. Then we can click on payments. And this is incredibly important. We do have to set this up in order for people to be able to buy from our store. I'm going to click on setup, complete account setup. We'll submit our details. Now, if you have an LLC, you can select that right here. If not, you might want to consider making an LLC. This is not legal or financial advice, but setting up an LLC is very easy, and we have tutorials on how to do that. If you are interested, I'll have those linked below. Otherwise, you could just be an individual if you just want to use your social security number, for example. Then we select our industry type. We are selling apparel, so clothing and accessories. Subcategory, this can be, let's say, men's clothing. We'll say next. Then once you confirm your information, you can agree and submit for verification. In the meantime, we can turn on two-factor authentication. All right, so now that we have our Shopify balance account set up, sometimes it takes a minute. Just wait a minute for that to show up. You'll see one thing is grayed out. So we can accept Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, all these different things, including Apple and Google Pay. But Amazon Pay is not activated right now. And that's something that we do want to activate. It's very easy to do. It's just a couple clicks. But the benefit here is that customers, don't have to, like if they don't have their credit card with them, maybe they don't have PayPal, maybe they don't have Apple Pay, but if they have an Amazon account, which millions and millions of people do, then they will be able to purchase, they'll be able to check out. So it's kind of one less barrier for somebody to purchase on our store using Amazon Pay here. In addition, they can already use their addresses and everything else saved on their Amazon account, further reducing the barrier of purchase, which should increase the purchases made on our site. So this costs you nothing to do, but it's a step that a lot of people forget to do. So if we go up to manage, click on manage right here, and we can scroll down, you'll see, click on manage here, you'll see manage payment methods. And so this is something that as you scroll down here, Amazon Pay is simply toggled off. So this is something that I'm not sure why it's toggled off by default, but we want to make sure that we toggle it on. And so there we go. It's taking longer than expected. It will be enabled though. It's now, and we are ready to go. So if we click on back again, Amazon Pay should not be grayed out anymore. There we go. We now accept Amazon Pay. That's a big step to reduce the barrier, like I said, for people to make a purchase. I think it's very important to do that. And for some reason, a lot of people do forget to do that very critical step there. So let's close out of this. Now, one final setting I want to touch on is getting a domain. It's super easy to do. If we just go to buy a new domain, we can get this one right here, aliengolfersapparel.co.com. That's pretty long. Maybe we just want like aliengolf.com, see if that's available. It's not available. So another option we have is aliengolf.store. If we say .store, that is a possibility. It's $9 for the first year, so a little bit cheaper. A lot of times, shorter domains are going to be available with .store. So aliengolf.store. After that, it is $50 for the next year. So now things are looking pretty good. If we hover over the little eyeball next to online store, you'll see we have our online store ready to go. We can select, hey, maybe somebody wants dark chocolate. Maybe they want a navy one, and they can choose size large. They can add it to their cart. That'll show up over here. That's what the cart looks like. And we can go to checkout. You can see the price there. This is kind of the end user experience. All they have to do is enter their information here, or like I said, express checkout. They can just simply click on Amazon Pay. It'll have them sign into their Amazon account. But if they're not in an incognito window, like I am, then it should just be signed into Amazon. They could just say purchase and everything is all set and ready to go. Super easy to do that there. Otherwise, they could type in their credit card information and their address like that. Then they can check out and everything works automatically. So the money will go into your Shopify account, your Shopify balance. The necessary amount for production will be sent over to Gelato. The order will be automatically processed by Gelato. So there's no going in here and clicking process order. It does that all automatically. And in Gelato, like I'm showing you right now, the orders page, by the way, you can access this by clicking on orders on the left. You can see any orders, you can search them. You can look at ones that are pending approval, that are maybe on hold, that didn't go through, like they're failed for some reason, whether that's payment method problems or something like that. You can see the ones that were shipped, the ones that were already printed, the whole process right here of every stage it possibly could be, including returns all the way on the absolute end there. So if we just go back to all, let's actually place a sample order. I mentioned that your first order will be 50% off as long as you went through our affiliate link. So there are two ways you could place a sample order. One is going to be through your website, which I do recommend doing. That is going to cost a little bit more upfront, but you are obviously paying yourself. So the money comes back to your Shopify balance and you end up placing the order through Gelato on the back end. So that's one thing you could do, like I just showed you. If you go over to this page right here, you go to your checkout and you could place an order there. Or the other option is to go back to Gelato and you could just go to product catalog, a very easy way to do this. Go to the product you want. So again, we were back in premium. Maybe if you wanted to get this crew neck right here and you wanted to kind of, just use a new design or test out a design, you could go and say, let's just say we want maybe forest green, we want size large, and we could say start designing. We can order one sample just like this. So go to files. I'm going to go with this file right here. Make sure it fits there. So make sure it fits. We can add it to the order. And because this is an account I actually have used before, I don't have the 50% off option, but you should be seeing this at half price right there. So if we say continue to shipping, we can enter our shipping information, it'll calculate the shipping, and then we can go and review and pay and purchase that order. And then we'll actually have a sample for ourselves to see how to test out the quality, make some marketing materials and things like that. Now I recommend maybe placing 1 or 2 orders up front just so you see the general quality of it. I'll show you in a second what the quality is because I'm going to place an order for this video. But because the whole game is to iterate and make as many designs as possible and add them to our store, I don't necessarily need to place an order for every single one of them. That's going to get very expensive. And honestly, it's really not necessary at all because a lot of the mockups, if we go to like Mockup Studio, for example, are able to be done without ever having the actual product in our hand, which by the way, back to Gelato here, if I just click on Gelato's logo there, we'll go back to home. I want to talk about the paid options that are available. There are 2 plans that are available. So on the top right, if you click on your name, you can click on subscriptions, and there are 3 options right here. I said 2, there's really a 3rd one as well. So remember earlier when I talked about on Etsy, how we had these like personalized t-shirts. So we've got a custom quote right there. They can add their own thing. The end user designs it. These are personalized designs. So this one right here, this one right here, you can actually do that with Gelato very easily using the personalization studio. So before I go and subscribe on any one of these, I want to show you a little bit about that real quick. So if I click on personalization studio down here, essentially you make part of the design, you choose the font, and then the end user simply types it in and they're able to make their own, whatever it is, whatever kind of product you're doing. It doesn't have to be a t-shirt. It could be a poster. It could be a mug. It could be a photo book, a calendar, anything like that. You can create the foundation of the design and the end user can personalize it for themselves. But going back to those other 2 subscription options, we have Gelato Plus and Gelato Gold. If we click on Learn More, they're going to show us a little bit more about the plans that are available. So all of the plans have production in 32 countries. They all sell on Shopify, Etsy, WooCommerce, things like that. They all integrate well. They all have a very intuitive design editor like I showed you. But if you go to Plus, it's $24 per month. You save up to 10% off on products, so that alone could pay for this. Also, you get premium mockups. We do have a lot of stock images and graphics that are available in the designer. We have the ability to have branded labels and packaging. So that's going to be very beneficial if you're kind of sending a product out and you want people to maybe purchase another one. You could have branded package inserts that say like, hey, this is Alien Golfwear Apparel Co. or whatever. Here's 10% off your next order using a special code. We also have, of course, product expansion tools. And then if you go to the gold option, even more expensive, you'll get even better mockups as well. You'll get more discounted products with, more discounted branding of labels and package inserts. So that's going to be a lot cheaper. And you have smart pricing for shipping. There's also platinum as well. I think most people watching this video probably will not need platinum, but I'm going to say get started with Gelato Plus so I can show you those mockups. This is going to be a really key aspect of making many different iterations without having to buy them and actually take photos yourself. This is really kind of the magic right here. So I'm going to say start my free trial. It's a 30-day free trial, by the way. So if you decide you don't like it, you can always cancel it after that. So now that we have Gelato Plus, if we go to branded packaging, we can say configure. We can add a branded label. So I think that looks really nice, as well as, like I said, that package insert, which as they're showing right there is exactly what I was thinking, where you'd basically offer like 30% off. It's going to cost 80 cents to include that in a card. This is something that if you upgrade it to gold, it's going to be cheaper, 30% less than that. But regardless, this could be a great way to get more orders if you have a store with multiple designs available. So let's kind of talk. Now, if we go down to stores, let's talk about the other way. Now, going back to Shopify, there are a couple other sales channels you could have. So we have our online store. Maybe you can run ads for this. You can plug this store and sell it, just directly through the store. But there are other ways to sell on social platforms, for example. So that's a crash course on how to make designs for your print-on-demand store. I personally have a great time making the designs. I think it's really fun to do, and I love putting them on shirts and seeing which ones actually perform the best. Now, to move on to the next step, I recommend, like I said, making that Shopify store. For a full tutorial, just Google Santrel Media Print on Demand. The first option is going to be the newest one. I'll also link it somewhere in the top of the video and in the description. And so I hope you all have a good time. So I wish you all the best of luck with your print on demand store. I can't wait to see your designs. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in that next video.